Jesus is Lord. He is risen from the dead. He reigns as King, and his reign alone is supreme. And he wants you and I to share in his eternal kingdom. In fact, he wants all people, all the world over, to share in that reign. I think it's important, though, that we understand what the kingdom of God is. Well, I'm still trying to figure out exactly for myself what it is. I think maybe it's better to say what it's not. We won't be, as it were, floating on clouds in God's kingdom. We won't have wings. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. That's for the angels. We're people. Nor will we be playing harps. That's for the angels too. I think, though, that we'll be dancing. And certainly, it won't be like another Groundhog Day, reliving over and over again the grind of daily life through eternity. An eternal round of golf might be nice, but even that I don't think will happen. Rather, no, the kingdom of God is really that absolute fullness of the life that every one of us yearns for from the very depths of our hearts. It's what Jesus says to his disciples when he enters that room where they're locked for fear of the Jews. Peace be with you. Yes, that's the kingdom of God. Peace. That's God's purpose for creating us. In fact, he created us to live with him in heaven. We are made for heaven, not so much for this earth. So the kingdom is not about a quantity of time. Rather, it's a quality of experience. And that experience in God's kingdom is God's divine mercy. Certainly, much more than what we deserve, because indeed it is that relationship that each one of us has with Jesus, the relationship that he so desperately wants to have with each one of us. I think that what happens, because we live in this world, we get so caught up in this world, in the things of this world, the things that we feel we, or maybe even our forebears, seemed to work so hard for. We cling to these things because we believe that that's all that there is. And if we lose these things, we indeed will be lost ourselves. Think about losing a loved one to death. How lost you might feel. We lose sight, or maybe we don't even look in the first place, of the reality that what is here, the goods of this world, are really only a tool to be used to get us to that ultimate good, which is God's kingdom. And we mistakenly believe that this world has more value than the world to come, that the value of the things is infinitely more valuable than the eternal good of God's kingdom. And so we become like Thomas. We refuse to believe. He wasn't with them that first night when Jesus rose from the dead, so that when he was, the disciples said to them, "We have seen the Lord," but he refused to believe. He said, "Unless I see the mark of the nails in his hands and put my finger into the nail marks and put my hand into his side, I will not believe." We're like Thomas. We don't want to believe because we want so much to hold on to what's in this world. And a week later, Thomas is there in that room, and Jesus appears, and he says to him, "Put your finger here and see my hands, and bring your hand and put it into my side, and do not be unbelieving, but believe." Thomas is able to see and experience Jesus, who is risen from the dead, to see that indeed he is real, that he is the Lord. And he says that wonderful prayer that maybe you and I pray, "My Lord and my God." Look at what Jesus does, or rather what he doesn't do, because this is his great mercy, his divine mercy. He doesn't reject Thomas who doubts. Rather, he invites Thomas into a deeper life of faith, into a relationship with him. And he does the same for you and I. Even when we doubt, he bestows his great mercy upon us by calling us, inviting us into his life, into his kingdom. Indeed, he gives us more than we could possibly hope for. He gives us more than what this world has to offer. Blessed are you who have seen and have not believed. Do you believe?